the conveners of the 5th Women's Forum, representatives of NGO leaders, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Very good evening, Nisambula Vinaka. Assalamu alaikum to you all. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge your outcome statement. And indeed, I look forward to working with you to achieve the equal representations of women that you have set for all on boards and committees at municipal levels and at national levels. As a woman candidate myself and contesting the elections for the first time after serving in the civil service for 25 years, I can vouch for some of the challenges that you've mentioned that women face when it comes to participating in elections at local and government levels. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to walk our way through. We need to find out solutions, and we need forums like this to commit the way forward for the many aspiring young and other women leaders who aspire to become leaders both at government and municipal levels. I have a very simple message in that regards, and that is for us to walk in solidarity and commit to the cause, and of course, begin our preparations now and not wait for the next 3.5 years for the next elections to come. On that note, thank you very much, conveners of the forum, for your invitation for me to be your keynote speaker for the closing tonight. Last Thursday, at this hotel, we celebrated the belated International Women's Day. And this is here where I stated, focusing on celebrating women's role in families, homes, and communities. And I hope that it would provide us with an opportunity to question the various issues that we women face, including the question of violence, abuse, and discrimination, that we accept culturally as being the necessary burden we women must face. And by last Saturday evening's news, we had already heard of the death of one of our own, Osana McGowan, and the setting alight of another of our women in Lautoka, both at the hands of the intimate partners. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, these things that continue to happen raises some very serious questions. And these are the very questions that I was able to discuss with the ministers at the CSW Forum in New York last month. Please allow me to share briefly my experience at the CSW Forum and the plans I have and the ministry has for the way forward during our term in the next 3.5 years. The 59th Commission on the Status of Women was my first experience of an international meeting on gender equality. And as I've already mentioned, I was dismayed that every national statement read, every report presented, talked about simply a lack of progress 20 years after the passing of the Beijing Platform for Action at the 4th World Conference of Women in China in September 1995. Other topics for discussions were women and economy, and of course, climate change issues as it affects women. I was also privileged to attend a Papua New Guinea-sponsored side event on gender mainstreaming within the public service to combat gender-based violence. And I think that is something that's going to work very well within our public service. And like I said, we need forums like this to push our way forward. Gender-based violence. Lessons learned from these side events are basically on male advocacy. We've learned that men have an important role to play as strong and responsible advocates for helping the reduction of violence against women. It is time for men to take responsibility for sexual violence, financial and emotional abuse in the workplace, in homes and communities. The National Public Service must demonstrate leadership in changing attitudes and behaviors in the workforce, and to the delivery of goods and services. And of course, the reach of these public servants will be reflected in the communities across the country. As I mentioned last week, our own Prime Minister stated in Kandavu last year that reported high levels of violence against women is a national shame. And that was one of the key issues discussed during the CSW side events. We need leadership of this kind. We need leadership at every levels of governance, be it local government, be it national government, from parliament to the machinery of government to private sector and within communities, to address the issue of gender violence that is continually rising in Fiji. 64% of women are subjected to domestic violence in Fiji, according to statistics. And that indeed is a national shame. Indeed is shocking. What we need is commitment of strong, committed male leaders to work in partnership with women to achieve gender equality. Because of course, women are subjected to violence at the hands of the male partners. At this point, if I can commend the work of the women NGOs and all women groups who have worked over the years to take us to where we are. Your collective work over the last few decades, and of course combined with the political will and commitment from governments, has broken the silence and taboo around domestic violence, rape and child abuse. But there's still a lot to be done. Domestic violence, rape, sexual harassment, sexual assault respect no class, status, economic or professional standing or ethnicity. Therefore, as mentioned in your outcome statement, solidarity, that's the key word. Solidarity of individual women and women's group is more critical now than ever. The increased reporting in the media and to the authorities and agencies is an indication that women are now finding their voices. We now need to have a stronger collective voice for the cause to take center stage nationally at every level. I would like to suggest here that we have stronger voices on issues of common interest. The nation, and especially the media, needs to treat deaths due to domestic violence as they would treat deaths on the road or death by drowning. Deaths by domestic violence should be a national tragedy. Women, ladies, gentlemen, alone and together as groups, we need to raise our voices in number and in unison and let the nation know that we will no longer be bystanders in the fight for our right to be. Be it from combating gender-based violence to our equal representation in Parliament, we need to stand strong and in solidarity. These were some of the key messages during our side events and discussions with other women ministers. As women NGOs, I'm sure you demand the state to be accountable. I think it is only fair that there is a cross-accountability whereby women NGOs are holding each other accountable and accountability up whereby government is also able to hold NGOs accountable through proof of their constituency and proof of results of their work. The consequences of lack of recognition of women's rights are far-reaching, devastating and fatal. The senseless death of Losana over the weekend and the many who have died over the years at the hands of their partners is a poignant reminder of that. The way forward, this year's theme, Make It Happen, is probably the best theme. Making it happen. Let's make it happen. The theme for the government's budget for this year is turning promises into deeds. The government is committed to working with a wide range of stakeholders as possible to make gender equality happen within our generation and to make good on its promise to all Fijian women. The Bainimarama government promises the full and effective realization of gender equality through its constitutional provision, the national gender policy, the budgetary allocation, the laws and collaboration with civil society organizations. However, I'm sure you will say, practice falls far short of laws and policies. Therefore, the Ministry is committing this year to the following: reviewing our Memorandum of Understanding with the Fiji Police Force to address the gaps in the implementation of various decrees pertaining to the protection of women and children. Signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with the Ministry of Itoke Affairs to do a more targeted approach to addressing women's economic empowerment and also strengthen the work around combating of violence against women and children. Signing a Memorandum of Understanding with faith-based organizations to address gender-based violence within non-Itoke communities. And of course, strengthening our collaborative partnership with women NGOs to extend the reach to rural and maritime women on issues relevant to their organizational mandate. I commit here that under my watch, the Ministry, with the support of its partners, will work to ensure the full and the effective implementation of our national gender policy, which will involve gender mainstreaming through gender sensitization of the whole of government machinery. Our children, and our young people cannot be singing the same song of the lack of progress on the Beijing Platform for Action 20 years from now on. We owe it to them to make it happen during our time in leadership, and together we can leave a rich legacy of commitment with action. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, while we were at the bilateral talks with China, it was mentioned women hold up 50% of the sky. I think women hold up more than 50% of the sky, and that we should make up 50% of every decision making. We must concentrate on women's rights as human rights, women and girls deserving a life of dignity, and all cultural, religious, and socially constructed reasons that justify the subjugation and suppression of women and tolerate the violation of women's bodies are morally repugnant. I'm sure during your forum, as your outcome statement has stated, a lot of discussions have gone in. The intent and the commitment is great, and I look forward to making this a reality if we work together in solidarity. Thank you very much. I wish you all a safe weekend.